everybody, and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle and to my latest episode of New Music Weekly, the show where I give you guys the top 5 prog news headlines, introduce you guys to some new prog singles, and give you updates of what's happening here on the channel on Nathan on Shuffle. It's been a great week. I've been really excited about what's going on here on the channel and all the great music that's been coming out, so a lot to talk about. March 1st, 2024 is the date today, just to get that out of the way. And for all of you watchers who haven't subscribed yet, I would encourage you to subscribe. Like or comment the video is always much appreciated, but otherwise just sit back and relax and let's catch up on the news together. So first of all, on my prog headlines list, I like to talk about the new releases that have come out, and today is a big day for new releases, it seems. There's just a lot of albums that have come to my attention and that I'm excited to talk about. I'm going to just mention many of them briefly here. I'm sure there's many more that I have missed and that people can bring up in the comment section. The first big one to me is Big Big Train's album, The Likes of Us. This is an album I covered and reviewed on the channel earlier this week, so check out my review for more fuller thoughts. But they're a classic prog band doing what they do best. They're introducing a new lead singer to the group after their previous one passed away, and they have just such a vibrant, great sound that harkens back to the classics of the genre. And they're on the new Inside Out label. You know, this is their first release on the Inside Out label, so there's a lot of push behind this one and a lot of excitement, and I think most of the reception of it is quite positive. I love it, and I think it's definitely worth checking out. Also equally impressive, and another album I'm just falling completely head over heels for, is Dirt Poor Robin's new album Firebird, which I'm going to talk about in more depth on my new album Spotlight this week. So a wonderful duo. Kate and Neil DeGrade are just fantastic musicians doing this theatrical, cinematic rock masterpiece. Just a wonderful record that takes a little bit of some like 80s synth dark wave music into their sound, but doesn't sacrifice who they are at their core as musicians, and just delivers this really wonderful concept album that has flavors of funk and jazz and pop and all of the different flavors that you'd come to expect from a very eclectic group. I'm just really in love with the sound of this record. Another band I really love, Everything Everything, came out with a record today, Mountainhead. This is more of a, alternative pop, indie pop kind of sound, but they have little hints of creative, like quirky, proggy kind of stuff in their makes as well. Jimmy Keegan came out with a solo record today as well. He's the drummer for Pattern Seeking Animals, was previously drumming for Spock's Beard as well, so it's a cool singer-songwriter type collection from him. Topiary Creatures came out with an album called The Metaphysical Tech Support Hotline, which is more in the like post-punk kind of vein with little prog flourishes. Really entertaining and interesting record. Jacob Collier, for fans of him, he came out with his Jesse Volume 4 record, more in the jazzier vein, but eclectic, and a lot of different guests and people on that record as well. So just a whole lot of different things coming to my attention that I think are well worth checking out for all prog and just general music fans. So hopefully something on there will strike your fancy. And we'll get to a few other like cool singles once we get to the singles list as well. The next item of news here, prog headline, Kansas drummer Phil Ehart steps down from live performance after he suffered a major heart attack. This happened last week. I just barely missed the boat to cover it on last week's New Music Friday, but I thought I'd insert it in here because it seems like a pretty big deal in the prog community. Kansas is a band that I really adore. They've been touring recently and been doing such a great job. Some really great late career records have come out recently from the band. They're doing their big like 50th anniversary tour, and it's just unfortunate news to hear that Phil Ehart had that major heart attack, and that he's going to have to step down from his role as the drummer here. It seems like his drum tech, Eric Holmquist, who's covered for Ehart before, will fill in during this time, so they're going to continue forward with the drum tech on the kit for now. He's still going to continue his roles as the band manager during this time, but it's just not possible for him to be able to perform on stage at this point. We'll see what the future holds. But for now, that's basically what's going on. So the band's label, Inside Out Music, said that the whole Inside Out music family is wishing Phil a speedy recovery. So hopefully things go okay there and that they can resume touring and all of their plans as normal. So just wanted to mention that one as well. Nightwish have finished their next studio album. That's my item number 3 here. Nightwish is a band that's dear to my heart and one that we've covered a bit on the channel. You know, I got me and Jana reacted to some of their music, and those videos were fairly popular and brought in a lot of fans. So I always like to mention what's happening in the Nightwish camp. This is their long-awaited follow-up to 2020's Human Nature. It sounds like the album's been fully mixed and mastered. They released a social media post that explained their process with the album. So it should be coming out probably sometime late this year. Sounds like it's going to have a darker, heavier sound according to the band and what they've been talking about. They went on a bit of a hiatus because of Flora Jansen, her pregnancy. She's had a baby since their previous album and touring cycle. So, but it seems like they're ready to go with a new record and hopefully a big tour in the future. It says that they've mentioned that they won't tour to support this release, but we'll see if there's touring somewhere further down the road. But it should be a cool album, a 12-song album being released with 3 music videos to accompany it, so there should be quite a ramp up to its release later this year. So a new album to look out for, new Nightwish record coming out late 2024. Item number 4, Wheel announced their third studio album, Charismatic Leaders, and released their first single from it called Empire. This is the Anglo-Finnish progressive metalers Wheel, who announced that they had been signed to Inside Out Records not too long ago. This is their much-anticipated third studio album, Charismatic Leaders, which is coming out May 3rd. This should be a really cool record. They're much in the heavier, more progressive metal space. You know, Tool is one of the common touch signs of their sound. So something to get your hopes up if you're a Tool fan, you know, that you like that kind of sound of progressive metal. They definitely run in that circle. So, and you can hear a track from their upcoming album, Empire, which I'll mention again in the Prog singles list in the description. I also wanted to briefly mention Swedish prog rockers Agusa have announced that their first 5 albums are going to be reissued. They've signed a new deal with Charisma Records, which also is home to bands like Airbag, Wobbler, Mir, Seven and Pale, and more. And they're going to have their first 5 studio albums reissued. So it should be cool to see these albums come out and be reissued. They're a really cool prog group that has a cool sound, you know, that's very indicative of Scandinavian prog right now. Has a little bit of a psychedelic touch and jazzy tone. Very much a cool group to look out for. And if you haven't heard their first 5 albums, this is a good chance to check them out, I suppose. On the prog singles list, I'm putting Firebird by Dirt Poor Robins. They put a music video out for the title track. It's the closing track on the record. Absolutely glorious track. If you're not interested in Dirt Poor Robins as a whole, I still want you to go check out this track because it's just fantastic and is fastly becoming one of my favorites of the year. So definitely wanted to put that number 1 on my list for prog singles. Wheels Empire, as I mentioned, their first single from their upcoming album, is on the list. Very cool prog metal music. And also on the prog metal side of the equation, Whom Gods Destroy put out their third single, Crawl, from their upcoming album Insanium, which should be coming out in March, so not too long from now, about 2 weeks from today. Their new album, of course, this is the band that features Derek Sherinian on keyboards and Bumblefoot on guitars, as well as vocalist Dino Julicic. So cool kind of all-star prog metal lineup doing what you'd expect, classic progressive metal music. Almo has a new single out called Bliss. This is a new progressive metal artist that I'm really excited for. I'm going to be reviewing their new record probably in a couple weeks. We'll see how it goes. But this is a cool track. It's more in a poppier, kind of Haken-esque, lighter vein than some of the heavier stuff that you could also find on the record. So I think it's a good indication of a different side of his sound compared to his previous single, which was Winter Hound, which was more of the, darker, Between the Buried and Me kind of heavier sound. So it gives you a bit of a taste for the variety that you're going to hear on this record, which I think is really excellent. And then a 1-2 punch from Ben Sinister. Big Star and Gotta Get Ready Now are the 2 singles that they've released today. A fantastic band that I think deserves a lot more attention. Maybe not completely proggy, but prog adjacent. Just doing really good classic rock that just sounds really fantastic, and has always been a band that's connected with me, so I thought I'd squeeze them onto my list here. And they're announcing their new record, which is going to be called Mostly Great Things, coming on April 11th. So next month we can look forward to a release from them, which they've released many singles from, so you could already get a really good indication of the record just by checking out their singles that they've released over the past several months. So really fun, a lot of cool little items there. Nothing major happening this week, at least from my perspective. Nothing that I detected, but I wanted to make sure to get a show in because there probably won't be a show for the next couple weeks, I would guess, because I'm going out of town, as I've mentioned on previous episodes, going on the Cruise to the Edge and doing a little bit of a mini vacation there on top of it. So should be really cool. But if you don't hear from me in a couple weeks, that's what's going on, just so you guys are aware of it. On the channel, it was a fantastic week. I really was excited to put out my Big Train review, which I think got pretty good reception. The Likes of Us, it's a fantastic new record. Please check out that review. I also did what was the final Rush Month video with Jana, where we talked about side 2 of Moving Pictures. We listened to it, Jana's first listen, as we do on Prog Song Sunday, and then we talked about it together and had a really great time closing out the Rush Month. And as you can tell by the records behind me on the wall, we're moving into Yes Month. I thought with Cruise to the Edge being part of this month that it would make sense to have the band that helmed Cruise to Close to the Edge, of course. That should be the feature for this month. And it makes a lot of sense because as I'm away, I won't have as much time, but I've already done ranking episodes from Yes. I've already done a lot of things in the past for the band, so I think I could kind of point people backwards to the content I've put out earlier to kind of get that Yes vibe and feel for this month. But there will be new Yes video content coming as well. A beginner's guide episode coming this week. This Sunday, me and Jan are going to react to one of Yes's biggest classic epics, which I'm really excited about. And I should be doing a reevaluation of the Yes rankings later in the month, where I look at where Mirror to the Sky should fall in my established Yes rankings and see if anything else has shifted over the past couple years since I put that video out. So should be a good time. As I mentioned this week, I'm going to be putting out a review of Firebird by Dirt Poor Robins, an album that I'm absolutely head over heels for. I just completely love it. So I'm excited to gush about that one and hopefully bring more attention to a great wonderful artist. So that's what's going on here, and I feel like I should close the show here. Keep it a little bit shorter than some of my previous episodes. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you had a fun time with this episode and heard some interesting news items. Let me know in the comments what I may have missed that's interesting to you in the world of prog. And I just really appreciate all of you guys and your support. It's been fantastic. So thank you guys, and I'll hopefully catch you in a future episode. Enjoy the music, everybody. Bye.